Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Board Masters with me, Chris Mullins, and I'm going to be changing it up slightly tonight in that there won't be a gameplay video of the Seventh Continent. I'm just going to do a quick little review video of the Crystal Song scenario that we've just completed on the channel. So links to the 3 playthrough vids done so far will be in the comments. I'm sorry to change it up like this, it's just that basically I've been really unwell the last 3 or 4 days and I just don't have it in me to do a playthrough video right now, so hopefully it'll be back to normal next week. And this is just going to be a quick review. It's an expansion pack, so I'm not going to put a score or anything at the end of it because your mileage is basically going to depend on whether you like the Seventh Continent or not. And I will be changing up the review formula from the Takanoko one. We did actually change it up when we recorded the Dinosaur Island review, which will be going up live on Friday. Obviously I didn't plan for another review to come in before that, but this will be the same template that we started following in that video. So we have 5 main components that we are going to be looking at in our reviews going forward. So the first one is the art style and theme. Second is the component quality. Third is accessibility. Fourth, replayability. And the final one, the core gameplay. So we'll dive straight into the first one for this, and that is art style and theme. Obviously, with it being an expansion, the art style mirrors that of the core game, so depends on your opinion on the art style and theme in that. I mean, there's nothing special about the art. It's not. It could be better, I think. Although there's not a lot of artwork on the cards themselves. Generally, it is a bit basic, but it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't put me off in any way. I do really like the whole theme of exploring a continent and solving a quest that you don't really know anything about. You're just solving it as you go along. And finding the crystals was something I really enjoyed doing, so that's a plus point. I mean, again, this sort of category isn't one where a game like this is going to score highly on because it's not really relevant to the game. It is a purely narrative, sort of exploration driven Filofax, as you've seen from any of my other videos, so it's not something that is going to benefit the game hugely if they had expensive, gorgeous artwork, but again, having the sort of basic artwork that they have doesn't detract from it either. It's perfectly fine. And onto components, again, it's basically the same. It's a collection of cards. That's basically it. Again, quality is really good of the cards themselves, but it's not something that is going to wow you, and again, it's not something that's going to harm your experience because there's anything wrong with them. They're perfectly fine, and again, it's not the point of the game. So with this one, the first 2 categories really aren't applicable, so we'll skip through that. As for accessibility, and this is probably where it does start to shine, because obviously this scenario is designed as an introduction to the game, because from what I understand, the 3 curses in the main game are all 15 to 20 hour adventures, whereas this one is an hour and a half. So from that point of view, it's brilliant. It perfectly introduces you to the game and the mechanics of it. Obviously, in terms of things you need to be able to play it, it's an expansion, so you have to have the core game, so there's a hurdle to it there. But in terms of the price point, I think it was an extra £10 on top of the cost of the game, so it's no barrier really in terms of the cost. And in terms of getting into the game, one of the biggest things I've experienced since getting into the hobby is how big an impact setup and put away time can have on how often a game hits the table. And with Seventh Continent in general, that isn't an issue. Once you've got your Filofax arranged, yeah, putting it away takes a little bit of time, getting in the cards in the right spots, but then setup is nothing. Unless you've done a save and you want to, like I was doing in the playthroughs, get it set up in the same way. But in general, with the save system, that's not how it works. You're supposed to only save the card you were on and then explore again from there. So accessibility is a category this scores really, really highly on. If you want to get into Seventh Continent, or if you just want a quick quest, this is perfect. In terms of replayability, as we saw in part 3 when we finished the quest, there are a number of different endings or ratings, sort of depending on how many crystals you get, varying between none and 7. So there's plenty of replayability there if you're the type of person who likes to sort of beat your own score and try and go through it and get that 7 crystals. Not the sort of thing I particularly like doing. Once I've gone through a quest, I sort of consider it done and don't really see any need to go back, so that isn't something that appeals to me. But if you are that sort of gamer, then great, it's got plenty of replayability from that perspective. Also, it adds an extra mechanic to the game, where if you're playing with 2 or more people, it adds a traitor mechanic where some people will be corrupted by the continent and have to kill another player before the end of the game, or they lose, and again the other players have to try and survive. So it adds another interesting little wrinkle if you want to try that. Again, because I have no real interest in playing this scenario again, it's probably not something I will use, but maybe if the wife really wants to play it, or if Chris or anyone from the game group really wants to give Seventh Continent a try, it might be something we try then. Who knows? But again, I keep saying again far too often, sorry about that, but once a word's stuck in your head, you can't help repeating it. But yeah, I'm trying to think of another word to say now. I'm tripping over my tongue. It isn't something I will use personally on my own, but it adds that extra bit of replayability if you think you're going to play the game in that way. In terms of the gameplay, well, obviously it's an expansion, so it expands on the core gameplay of the Seventh Continent. So if you like that, you're going to like this. I thoroughly enjoyed my playthrough. I've absolutely loved it so far and can't wait to get back into the core game. It works really well as an intro, as I said earlier. It covers most of the mechanics, and I think with the sort of score aspect of trying to get as many as 7 crystals as you can, I think it would work as a challenge for experienced players with the game as well, if they just want to really maximise it and try and hit that 7 mark. And I think there's a lot of people who would be interested in doing that. And yeah, it's just a really, really fun scenario I found, and I highly recommend it, along with Seventh Continent the game. If it's something that interests you, if you're going to buy the core game, I would definitely recommend getting the Crystal Song as well, because as an introduction it's brilliant. I think as I've said, it works as a challenge later on when you're experienced with the mechanics and you want to try and hit that 7 crystal mark. And even if you just want a quick scenario, it's an hour and a half, which in the context of Seventh Continent is very quick. But that's it for the review really. As I said, I'm not going to attach a score, but I do highly recommend it if you're interested in the Seventh Continent at all. And again, I just want to apologise for there being no gameplay. Hopefully I'm feeling better in the next day or 2 so I can get a Lord of the Rings playthrough in preparation for Wednesday, because I really do want to tackle Journey Down the Anduin again. It's really bugged me that I've lost the last 2 games. But if not, I've got plenty of unboxings ready and raring to go, so I can pop one of those in as a placeholder for the week. So we'll just see how it goes. But I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, and I hope to see you again soon. Look after yourself and stay safe. Bye bye now.